Great Valley Studios, this is the MCS1 show. And now your host, the guy who voted for Nader twice, MCS1.
Oh, welcome to the MCS1 show. I'm MCS1.
And this is Caleb Hennon.
And, welcome. So, our topic today, this is kind of a segue a little bit off of video game addiction. A little bit. This is called RPG addiction.
Which is just as ridiculous.
Which is just as ridiculous. And so, with that, I want to start off with my opening remarks about RPG addiction. I know someone from back home, from where I'm from, who plays a lot of RPGs. And, like, a lot. And it's gotten to the point where his wife and his child have left him because this is all he does. This has gone out of control. And so he posted a Facebook message about it a while ago. And I took screenshots of the whole thread that went on. So I'm going to read this to all of you. And it's a bit lengthy, so bear with me. And a couple other people come in, but I will explain this better as we go on. So here we go. This is the original poster. He says, I am Ashton, and we'll refer to him as Ashton throughout the rest of his show. We're not going to use his real name. I am Ashton, founder of the Forest Knights who stood against the army of Vecna. I am Telena, the ultimate archmage. I am Farron, Jedi Knight. I am Sergeant Andrew, destroyer of false gods. I am Ice, criminal of 2074. I am Lieutenant Farron of the Colonial Fleet. I am Special Agent Paul Mayer, FBI. Who are you? Two people like this. Okay, so the next person who replies is, he has his profile picture set as Bert, like Bert and Ernie. And so I'm going to obviously refer to him as Bert. And so he has 3 comments in a row. I'm just going to read them now, and I'm going to try to voice this as best as I can as Bert. I am Barbarian. I am Rapist AI. I am an orc mind reader radar dish that breaks plotted games over my knee. Man, I miss that orc now. No combat skills. So much own. Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
I have no idea either. Okay, so the next person who replies, named Connor. And he says, hi, I'm Steve, the greatest gnome rogue. I am Naomi, the cursed dread necromancer. I am Brute, the gothic barbarian. I am Connor O'Malley, the street-wise sword fighter. I am Prot, the Jedi weapon master. I am, name I cannot pronounce, Draenei Shaman. I am Hiroshima, Gnome Warlock.
Japanese island.
Yes. So this is getting pretty insane. Okay, so now goes to the next person. My friend posted on this. I'm going to refer to him as Smart Guy. He says, I am a man with a life.
Need he say more?
Yeah, I like that. And so Ashton, the original poster, says, so what? I have 8. Smart Man, which is my friend. 1 is all I need. Connor, which is the guy who had all the weird names a couple seconds ago. Well, you're not a good sport there, Smart Man. Ashton, Troll, Smart Man. Wish I could click don't like on that original status. And then another person posts, a new poster. This is Sonic. He has his profile picture set as Sonic the Hedgehog. I am a pig-bearing man who is a sorcerer/wizard. I am a gunslinging man not in a time of my own. And, ... I am PC.
Okay.
So next one, Liam. All right, there's another new one. I am Liam, Master of Thieves. I am Jesse Turner, Professional Criminal. I am Dench of the Hill Clan. I am Scion, the Rogue the Hitman, and the Hero, and Smart Man. You, sir, are a troll. For those who don't know, trolling is referred to as someone who goes on like a thread or a forum, usually a YouTube comments area, and says something just to kind of upset people. So all these nerds, appropriately using an RPG term, troll, is also double humorous to me. But moving on. Okay, so
appropriately using troll.
Yeah, appropriate. How appropriate. Okay, so Ashton, correction. The original poster. I do have one life. I just have the ability to personify individual characteristics to myself. And then there's this other guy here named Doodad. I am Doodad, Gwahire, Wolf Rider, Druid. I'm not even going to read this. This is just too long and weird. So, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then Bert says something else. I don't know. Is RPGing with
Probably
Ernie.
something about Ernie.
Probably
He's
something
just,
about Ernie.
He's just worried about Ernie's job situation.
Ernie
It's
doesn't have
horrible.
a job, and he doesn't pay rent.
Hey, Bert.
Bert, tell about my RPG characters. Come on, Bert. It's my turn to use the internet.
Oh, rubber ducky.
Rubber ducky. Okay, so, then it goes back to my friend who originally posted. I am Smart Man, troll of Council Bluffs, Iowa. Talker of smack to people who need to get a life or desire to have one and are sad, lonely, and pathetic in nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now he's an RPG, kind of, but not really.
Yeah. So, the next post. Okay. So someone is trying to get upset with them, blah, 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 and giving this big speech. So he says, people who seem pretty, why are you trying to be a jerk about this? I can't see who this is because my screenshot didn't work out as well as I would have liked for this one. But it says, why are you trying to quite desperately to annoy people digitally? People who seem to be pretty confident in the choices they've made on what they do with their free time in the real world. So go ahead, admit you have no life, and we'll go on ignoring you like you have been. My friend, who is Smart Man, respond. If you are ignoring me, why bother pointing out my commentary? This garbage you guys keep typing for the world to see is the best comedy ever. Agreed.
Definitely.
I keep laughing and laughing, and it makes me smile to know that you are so uncomfortable with real life that you pretend to be someone else. Come back when you are going the way of Scientology. No, sorry, come back. You are going the way of Scientology.
Okay.
And the last comment from him, I'm sure your families miss you. Bird! Okay, so, Bert, this tangent is silly and has shat up a fairly okay thread. He said shat, S-H-A-T.
Wow.
Okay.
Properly, in a sentence.
In a sentence. So,
wow.
My friend's final response, no, I have succeeded. I have changed the focus of your thread. It is great that you can't ignore me even though you claim to. You all fail in all you do. I'm out. Call me what you want, but this has been great and made my day. Peace. So Ashton, the original poster. I get it. You just have to cut us down and troll us to make yourself feel better. Hilarious. Just effing hilarious. And you post a link on your wall so everyone who looks on your wall can see and find opportunities to cut us down. Which, by the way, is the way I originally found out about this, is my friend posted a link on his wall.
That's kind of funny.
That led to this. So, you could have ignored my post like you have all the posts I have for many years, but you had to post an attempt to demoralize us. I hope all your friends read this. I really do. You think you have changed the topic. You haven't. We posted who we pretended to be, and so did you. I am Smart Man. I have a life. Ooh. Not really good.
No,
that's
a great burn.
Yeah, great burn. 2 points. Where the points really don't matter. And so then Liam here says, and this is what finally ends the thread, and here I was going to accuse him of being a closeted homosexual. That was a way better response. Ashton.
That was a better response?
I don't think either were good response.
No, neither.
I mean, calling someone gay or homosexual, that's pretty elementary school.
Yeah,
Maybe high school, depending on where you went.
Not really high school either.
Maybe Flog if you're where I went.
Maybe like, if your high school happened to be, the jungles of Africa and you were a retarded monkey, that might work.
Maybe.
As a solid insult.
Yeah. An obscure place we know nothing about.
Right.
So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's just so crazy that, it's like he said, we posted who we're pretending to be. But the thing is that it didn't really sound like they were pretending.
Yeah.
Did they say, I pretend to be, and then they list off their name? No, they said, I am.
Yeah, and the original post said, after he listed off all the people he said, who are you?
Right.
Yeah,
so...
I'm not friends with this person on Facebook. I know them, but had it been me and I was friends, and I could post, I would say, I am MCS1. I currently make films, and I own a radio show, and I play bass. And I would talk about, like, the cool things that I do.
Like, things that matter.
Yeah, that are important. I wouldn't post, I am Desp, Blood Elf, Death Knight in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Or, something like that.
Whatever, yeah.
And it's just, it's ridiculous.
It really is.
I
agree.
Ridiculous. So, speaking of World of Warcraft and RPGs,
Yay.
back to my old roommate that I had, who I've mentioned in previous shows. He would spend, countless hours playing World of Warcraft. I can't even begin to get this going, and he was very much addicted to this. When it got to the point where he couldn't tell the difference between the real world and the Warcraft world. Like, I would come home from school, and I would ask him how his day went, and he would reply with stuff that went on in World of Warcraft.
Like, it was great until my elf died from
It was
something.
great until this person totally, and then he just goes off forever. And then I try to space off, but the problem is I'm pretty good at paying attention even though I don't want to.
That's terrible news.
I know. And so I'm sitting there like listening and I'm like, oh.
Did your brain start hurting after a while?
No.
Or?
I wish it would have though. I could have been like headache.
Yeah.
I could have faked a headache. That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
I should have faked a headache and then left.
But I
could only do that once.
Yeah.
If I kept doing it all the time.
Then he might get a little suspicious, or he might realize that he's boring and lame.
No, he just gets suspicious.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So we're leaning towards, okay, so
my
he would just
orc
stay
could heal
suspicious.
you, but so,
let me pull out my level 3 healing skills.
Yeah. So and another thing I would like to mention about him before we change the subject once again is he one time told me about like all of his characters that he had on WoW, and he had his own little fan fiction kind of thing going on in his head. Caleb, are you familiar with what fan fiction is?
Right, yeah.
Okay, I don't know. If
let's explain it to the audience.
Let's explain to the audience. Do you want to, or you want me to?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
So what fan fiction is? It's something where like there's a concrete basis for something. Like let's say Harry Potter.
Okay,
Harry
right.
Potter. And
good example.
Yeah, great example. Harry Potter, it's a concrete basis for something. And so people will take their own little worlds, and they'll either have characters from Harry Potter and write their own non-commercialized stuff. Like, they'll have a Harry Potter fan fiction where, let's say, Ron and Hermione get married.
Okay.
Or something. And they write out their own little stories, and they post them online. Kind of thing. It's kind of a waste of time a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not as bad as other things in this world.
No, I admit, yeah, that's not as terrible
I'd say writing it isn't that bad, but reading it,
yeah,
I will definitely, I would shame people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and writing it, at least there you're doing something that's somewhat academic.
Yeah, somewhat.
You know, I mean, you're expanding your creativity, you're testing, your writing skills, and
yeah,
if it's used, for example, as just an exercise on, getting better at writing, perhaps, you are an aspiring author, and so you want to kind of try to do something like that, sure, whatever. But if it's just some guy sitting at home in his basement, and he's just like, I want to be in the Harry Potter books, so I'm going to make my own character.
What I plan to do is I plan to write a side story where Darth Maul lives at the end of episode 1, and he starts up a family of Darth Maulings, and he teaches them the dark side of the Force. And you see where this is going, though. Like that's what I think of when I think of fan fiction. It's just
something that's completely ridiculous.
And usually bad.
Yeah, usually not a very solid idea.
Yeah,
but
so back to the main point about my previous roommate. He was telling me about like all the fan fiction stuff involved with his wild character that he had going on in his head. And he started telling me a couple stories about him, and my head. I wanted it to explode in that moment. Like it was painful.
So
I should have faked a headache again.
So he had actually taken one of his, what was it, 10 characters?
10 of his characters.
Okay. He took all 10 of them.
All 10 of them.
And put them in
a story.
In a story.
What
was the story called?
I don't know.
There wasn't a name to it?
No, there was no name, and I was able to space off some of it.
Okay.
Because I was kind of texting at the time.
Okay.
So
so you were focusing on something else. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little easier.
Yeah, it was a little easier. So, but it's still painful. All I remember is, like, there was a character they had that was undead, like a skeleton kind of thing. It didn't have a nose or whatever, and it was kind of pushed in. And he wasn't upset that he was dead. He was upset because he didn't have a nose.
I think if I was an undead skeleton, I'd probably be more upset that I'm dead.
I probably would, too.
I mean, personally...
I am Caleb, undead skeleton. I am upset that I am dead.
I'm so tired of not being able to eat.
Oh, well, I donate plasma.
Yeah, and then, like, I mean, the thing that would upset me probably the most, if I was undead, would just be not being able to eat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean...
I'm wondering how you would sleep.
That also a true point.
Because I kind of like sleep.
And how do you get like energy for doing things? You can't eat foods, you can't break anything down into energy.
I don't know. Cram a rock star into your skull.
I guess. How do you see? You don't have eyes. You don't have eye sockets, no eyeballs.
Yeah,
so.
it's
I think a nose would be the least of my concerns.
Yeah,
personally.
Exactly. So, moving on. I've played an RPG once.
Sure.
Actually, I'd say about it was like I played about 3 times. I played with a couple friends and their parents, and it was okay, but it wasn't like I wasn't sitting like in class every day staring at the clock. I was like, man, I cannot wait until class gets out so I can go RPG tonight.
Wow. You weren't?
Were you?
No. I don't even play, RPGs, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Online gaming just has always been kind of, we talked about this before, but it's kind of been off for me always. I just can't stand dealing with that kind of personality.
Oh, I got some stuff to bring up. So, have you heard of LARPing?
No. What's LARPing? What's LARPing?
Is, one, it already sounds like a nerd term.
Yeah, it does.
2, it's called live action role playing.
Oh, wait, you know what? I have heard of that because I've seen the movie Role Models.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never seen Role Models.
There's one of the kids in it is theirs is called Lair. It's live action. Oh, I can't remember. It's live action interactive role playing explorers, something like that.
Okay.
And it's there's
a silent E.
Yeah,
oh,
silent because it's old English. Oh. They gotta and there's this character on the show or on this movie that he honestly thinks that he is his person. Like not just like he uses the words or the terms or whatever, but he like has that little voice that just says, "I'm from a fantasy novel."
Oh no!
And he just goes around and it's just like, "Luck be the day today, for today is the day that we battle." And it's just like, what? what?
Oh man, that reminds me of like chubby couples at a Renaissance fair. Like that's what I think of when I think when you say the word fantasy. That's exactly what I think of. I think of a Renaissance fair with a lot of chubby couples walking around, and I mean,
with good reason.
With good reason. I mean, honestly, how many of us have never been to a Renaissance fair? Yeah, I've been to like one.
You can't see it, but I'm raising my hand.
Yeah.
I've seen them on The Simpsons, though.
Yeah, that's what kind of what I was thinking, where Homer, the lunch lady Doris, is like cooking that pig. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, I only feed this to those who speak ye old English. And then Homer's like, sweet lady of the spit, please. And he just goes and he goes through this whole thing. At the end, she's like, whatever. And then she's like smoking, cooking the pig. This is great.
Yes, because they had cigarettes back then.
Of course. And so, RPGs. But back to this LARPing. My friend sent me, because I love Avatar. I mean,
good movie.
I love it. I mean, yeah, I've heard the whole South Park Dances with Smurfs thing. It was stolen from Fern Gully. Blah blah blah.
You know, and
I like how no one brought up those points until after the South Park thing came out. By the way,
yeah, that's funny.
They're like, it was so obvious, but it wasn't obvious enough for me to come out by myself. So what happened is this kid who I know sent me this link on my Facebook wall, and it was a link to Avatar LARPing.
Really?
Oh yeah, and so it's like all these chubby couples in the woods. And they're running around, and they're, like, all painted blue. And, like, there's not one skinny... Not really any skinny person here.
Okay.
So, I kind of, you know...
It doesn't really sound like an Avatar, then.
Yeah, well, it's like they were running around pretending to be Na'vi people.
Uh-huh, but they were fat. Na'vi people are not fat.
Well, there's only so much you can... You have to use your imagination, Caleb.
I guess.
That's the point.
Or, you know, and here's an idea. You could go on a diet.
Well, yeah.
And try to actually look like one.
Or eat like the Na'vi people.
Maybe. I mean, that would be a stretch.
Yeah.
That'd be a little harder to do for certain...
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw... what did they eat?
Fruit, I'm guessing.
Fruit.
I mean, they live in a forest.
Fruit. I saw them drinking water.
Yeah.
But so there we go.
So fruit and water.
But anyway, they sent me that link, and like the guys were like talking about it to the camera, and they were trying to make it sound like it was cool, and it didn't work.
No.
No.
That's like trying to make fan fiction sound cool.
Yeah, there's certain things that no matter how hard you try, they're not going to sound cool. RPGs, fantasy, fan fiction, the Republican Party. I mean...
It's just not fun.
It's not gonna work.
No.
And it's kind of sad. It's kind of like the RPGing thing. It's kind of borderline trekking a bit.
Yeah. Somewhat. You know.
Somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's just this whole idea of... I mean, I'm all for having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, and have fun doing whatever you do. But please stay on Earth.
Yeah. Because I think that's the problem. Like, let's segue back to the guy from the beginning.
Okay. Ashton.
Our
lovely,
Ashton.
Our assassin hero or whatever he isn't. Yeah.
So, back to Ashton. Ashton works at a pizza place.
Okay.
I don't know. I knew he was going to a community college. Whether he finished or dropped out, I have no idea. He's played these games so much that, like, his wife has left him.
Right.
Isn't there some kind of red flag right there? Like,
yeah.
When your wife's like got the suitcases at the door and your only kid, and then she's like, we're leaving you. Do you think he's thinking, oh my gosh, why? Or he's like, yes, more RPG time with the bros.
You know, I think it could go either way.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think he's probably actually, I mean, if anything else, he's probably going to drown himself even more in his RPGs anyway, because that's probably how he deals with his problems. You know, he's probably going to, go back down to his room, have himself a power bar and a rock star, and start and start blowing stuff up or casting spells of unbreakable madness or something on somebody somewhere in Asia, and just I don't know. I mean, that's probably what he did more than anything else afterwards. I don't think there were too many phone calls to his ex-wife being like, "Hey, baby, come back. I'll drop my RPG games for a minute.
I'll quit playing D&D for one night."
As much. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be... there's no cold turkey on that.
No,
I
don't think so either.
It's borderline cigarette addiction is what it really comes down
to. Is.
There's a lot of stimulus that goes on with it. It's a lot of people like, when you can't do things in real life, of that nature, and then you can do it in these games, and it's just like all of a sudden you're the cool kid on campus. You're the big kid.
My RPG character wears a leather jacket and talks like the Fonz. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he also
and when he kicks a
jukebox?
A medieval jukebox.
Oh, okay. So
I was trying to think of a good comparison.
A lute player?
A lute, yeah. It kicks the lute player, then it starts playing the lute.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
A lute player.
Your court musicians.
Play my tune.
Yeah. So
and I shout, "This is Sparta," before I kick him usually.
This is Sparta.
Yeah.
Now play me some lute.
Play some lute, bro. But yeah, it's ridiculous because they think there's things that they can't do in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why they don't try. I'm not talking like. I don't want
no magic spells.
Yeah, I don't want people going out into the street and trying to stop a bus with lightning. I'm not talking about.
Don't try to stop a bus at all, please.
But
public transportation's bad enough as it is.
Yeah, but I'm talking like I have these boots of super speed. Well, I have those too. They're my Nikes on the top shelf.
Yep. I go running in them.
Yeah.
And I get a speed boost of +2 versus regular walking.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just ridiculous. Another thing I kind of wanted to point out with this RPG thing, before we come to a close, is I was talking to a cop I used to work with, and he told me that back in the 80s when D&D first came out, it was getting so serious that some gangs were involved, and they were actually shooting each other over this stuff.
Over D&D?
Over D&D.
Really?
They would get so intense in the fantasy games that they would shoot each other.
Wow. That...
I don't know how true this is, though.
Okay.
I just want to bring that up.
That's a bit much.
And, yeah. And so, one other thing, and we'll probably go a bit over, but this is really interesting. So, Facebook ads.
Okay.
They always target to you or whatever.
Right.
And for your interest. And so one day, this RPG ad comes up for me. It's like this cool RPG ad. And I'm like, what? And it says, watch cool people play RPG.
Wait, cool and RPG in the same sentence?
Yeah, and so I click this link, and I'm just curious. I'm like, cool and RPG in the same sentence. Exactly. So I click the link, and it's all these goth chicks, wearing hardly any clothes. And then some random guys or whatever, and it talks about them playing their D&D adventures.
Really?
And it's I don't know. It's kind of like that gamer girl capitalism we talked about last week.
Yeah, goth girl capitalism in this case.
Well, not so much goth girl, but RPG
capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah. Sure.
It's marketing to that audience of nerds that are sad and lonely and pathetic in nature, as Smart Man said earlier.
Right.
And it markets to them. And then just rolls. So, closing remarks, final thoughts today. Seriously, RPGs, it's okay to do something. Everyone has their little guilty pleasure.
Sure,
absolutely. For me, I like Rebecca Black.
Okay. I'm not going to judge you right now.
Yeah.
Not on the air. Maybe
not on
later.
The air. I'm sure everyone else is. But I like Rebecca Black and stuff. And I know her music is awful, but I still enjoy it. And I feel everyone's got their own guilty pleasures of some kind. And so I think it's okay to have these, but when they're taking out of your personal time of things you're supposed to be doing, like, say, raising a family, then you need to stop.
Yeah, I mean, at least cut down.
Yeah, at least cut down.
At the very least.
Something. I mean, this is, that's like AA kind of thing.
Yeah, it's gone too far.
It's gone too far. Well, that's our show for today. Once again, I'm MCS1.
I'm Caleb Hennon.
And adios, amigos.